solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. With pennies, crime busters run, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Good to see you, Ginger and Brenda Joe. And I saw that Mike was in here earlier. I don't know if he's back again now, but he was in here. Mike actually used, for those of you who may not know, part of our video. And I'm going to actually play part of it. Hello, Melissa. We've got a lot to get through tonight, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started right away with our focus on the missing. Our first one is Ava Ezel. She has been missing a couple of days, guys, since the 8th of June. Last seen in Bonacqua, Tennessee. Never heard of that one, but we got some more kids from Tennessee missing again, guys. 15 years old, 5 feet 1 inches tall, 120 pounds, red hair and brown eyes. If anybody knows anything about her disappearance or where she might be, please call the Bonacqua Police Department in Tennessee or 911 or 1-800-TBI-FIND. Let's not forget about Jonathan Wang, missing since March 30th. Young man, 21 years old, autistic. He is high functioning. He does respond to his name, but he doesn't know how to take care of himself, guys. His family is very concerned about him. His social circle has only been his immediate family, guys, so you can understand why they're worried about him. They are concerned that he might have met up with somebody off of his laptop, so that could be a problem. If anyone knows anything about Jonathan's disappearance or where he might be, call the Arlington PD or even his dad at the number on the screen. Let's not forget about our buddy Sebastian Rogers, still missing, guys. And guys, so much garbage going on in his case. I'm just so disheartened. But let's not let that take away from our prayers for Sebastian. Let's keep him, first and foremost in our prayers, that he comes home to be with his dad where he needs to be, right? As of an hour or two ago, Travis Decker is still missing. He is the man that took the lives of his 3 beautiful daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. Beautiful little girls. Travis is ex-military. He's age 32, 5'8", 190 pounds, black hair and maybe in a ponytail, brown eyes. He may have a mustache and a beard. He may be clean shaven. They have what they believe is sightings of him. He's wanted for 3 counts of first-degree red rum and first-degree kidnapping. So if anyone sees him, do not approach. Call 911 immediately. Maybe take a picture if you can, but do not approach him. He's considered to be very dangerous. All right. Let's see where everybody's doing. Cecilia, hello. Good to see you, hon. Getting back from vacation. Awesome. Well, I hope you had a good time. Chemistry Queen, good to see you as well. Glad everybody is coming on in. All right, so we are talking about Lily and Jack tonight. We're going to, we've got a couple of statement analysis videos that we're going to watch. But before we do that, I did want to, let me see, I'm going to share my screen. Just share this short clip. It's only 2 minutes.
If this is not a criminal investigation now, I'd be totally surprised.
It's been almost 6 weeks since Lily and Jack Sullivan were first reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station. On Wednesday, the RCMP in Nova Scotia said many RCMP units, including Major Crime, are involved in the investigation, along with the National Center for Missing Persons. Police say they've formally interviewed 54 people in their search, and this former Halifax regional police officer doesn't take that lightly.
They're out there, and the only way they're going to see or get results in this is to be out there talking to people, looking at videos, looking at topography and what have you, and so on. They're not in offices doing this by a laptop. Let's put it that way.
In an update this week, the RCMP say they've collected hundreds of hours of video from areas surrounding Lansdowne Station between April 28th and May 2nd, when the kids went missing, and have received nearly 500 tips from the public. Police say they've searched every aspect of the family's home and received authorization to seize and examine devices.
They'll go on the balance of probabilities based on the area that we fully searched with a lot of people. We can't find any evidence, be it a backpack, a shoe, or whatever. We can't find the kids. If you can't find them, somebody has to say enough is enough right now for searching those areas. So now we move to where? There's only one other option. A nefarious take to this. In other words, a criminal type thing. That's only my personal opinion.
Police say they've used polygraph tests in some interviews. This former polygraph examiner south of the border says the test is used to monitor how a person's nervous system responds to certain questions.
If somebody is successful in the test, then not that they're being eliminated, but they'll spend more time on people that are not successful. Not passing the test doesn't mean you're guilty or you're involved. It simply means that there's some issue there, maybe some knowledge, guilty knowledge.
Moriello says he's seen people pass tests who were later proven guilty. More than 160 search and rescue volunteers have scoured through the densely wooded.
Did you hear that? He's seen people who passed tests later being proved guilty. And we know that, right? We know that those tests are not, polygraphs are not, that's why they're not permissible in court, guys, because they're not proven to be accurate 100% of the time.
Area surrounding the children's home, but only a small boot print was found. Police continue to refer to the case as a missing persons investigation.
They're covering it all, everything they can. And you only do that in depth when there's a criminal investigation with major crime on scene. They're not there just because they're major crime. They're there to do their major crime work.
Mitchell Bailey, Global News, Halifax.
And we do know that major crime has been on the scene, right? Which brings me to, let's see. Yeah, I agree. I share his personal opinion as well. I think that it is a criminal case now. I don't know why law enforcement doesn't say that outright. I don't know. There must be a reason why they don't, because remember, they didn't say that in Sebastian's case for the longest time, even though we knew with the Amber Alert that it had to be, right? And I mean, the DA was there on site. Guys, you know that something had to be up, right? Same thing here. So they had the criminal investigation unit there. What did they say on day 2 or 3, I think? But the next one that we're going to actually go to is Mike DeMann, and he actually went over the report from RCMP that we did. So let's go there. Quickly.
This particular video was sent to me from Granny's Crime Busters. Not Granny's Watching, but Granny's Crime Busters. And it is...
I don't like being referenced that way. I'm sorry you ever brought up the other channel, but that's all right. We'll continue on.
About what we have now been seeing regarding new developments in the case of Jack and Lily.
Sure, you guys could see it all right. Yeah. And there was an update today. The Nova Scotia RCMP's intensive approach to the missing persons investigation into the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan continues. Before I really read the rest, I do want to just say I really appreciate the fact that the RCMP gives out updates, right? I really do, because we don't see that in Sebastian's case, do we? We just don't. And I really appreciate that, even though they're putting it on there.
And I'm happy you keep the Sebastian case going. As am I. And I have a couple more videos. But this is now also, actually, this is my priority at a specific time, because we, I think, are going to see some results. And this case of Jack and Lily Sullivan, I believe, is going to be a great training tool, because rather than having us getting lost in a specific case, as has been happening in the case of Sebastian Rogers, I think we are about to see some major developments, and that will help us analyze and compare our analyses with what is going to be revealed, hopefully soon.
On their Facebook page. I don't care. I'll go to their Facebook page, you know. I'll even subscribe. Guys, I do have to say, hello, Poppy Love. Good to see you. I'm a star. I'm famous, right? No. It is weird though, watching myself on somebody else's channel and even again playing it, but I'm doing that to get his synopsis of what RCMP is saying, right? Because many of us respect his opinion. So that's why I'm playing it. But it is kind of weird. It really is. It's kind of strange. Right? I'll follow whatever I got to do to make sure that I get the updates. They're giving out updates. I want to know about them. You know, more than 11 Nova Scotia RCMP units are working on the missing persons investigation, some of which include the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crime Unit, Pictou County District RCMP, Digital Forensic Services, Truth Verification Section. That's interesting.
I love that term also, truth verification section. Oh my God, talking about, how do I say this in a positive way? Because it's, let me say, it's like positive propaganda, right? Lie detection, deception detection, that's really what it is. But I love how they keep it positive, and they talk about, this is just like, of course we believe you, of course you're telling the truth, but, we just want to verify it to make sure that everybody knows, that you are the truthful person that you claim to be. I love this term, man. And it's so, okay, I'm a truth verifier. And I'm dead serious. If I get more and more people saying, "Oh my God, you're too harsh on these people. Why do you have it out for Daniel?" No. I approach every single statement as if the person is going to tell me the truth. I assume that the person that I am going to analyze is truthful with me. And I allow them to talk me out of it, if that's what they do. And has Daniel Martel ever done that? Oh my gosh, Daniel Martel has been talking me out of it from the very beginning. And so has Malaya. And of course, I'm not yet at the point where I'm going to be 100% about what we are dealing with. Who had what role in the disappearance? Which one of them had which role? Of course, I've mentioned before, he feels the need to mention that she never did anything and the children kept going wild with her. Why would you talk about the children going wild? And why did she talk about they will talk your ear off? Whenever you talk negative about a missing child, you are telling us why, in your opinion, the children wound up going missing. It's the same with Orson and Orrin West's adoptive father. He called them rambunctious. Something happened because from his point of view, they were rambunctious. So he felt the need to discipline them, and they passed away, right? I haven't followed the case too much. Peter Hyatt used to analyze it. It was dead on, but I know this adoptive father and I think his wife is also, they are both in prison, I believe, for the murder. I don't remember I don't remember any of the details, but it was very obvious from the beginning that they were involved in that disappearance. And Chris Proudfoot referred to Sebastian as rambunctious as well. So all of the negative things that Chris and Katie Proudfoot have been telling us about Sebastian Rogers show me that this is, from their point of view, the reason that Sebastian is no longer around. It's victim blaming people. These two children, they talked your ear off and they were wild. They were wild that particular night because he told us Malaya, she was on the phone. Lily kept coming into the room. Jack was out. Also, something that I've spoken about and will speak more about, I'm sure, as the weeks go by. So the fact that they were wild with her, but well behaved with him, leads me to the question, what did you do to control the children? And why is CPS not allowing you to see your daughter Meadow unsupervised? Why haven't you seen your other two children?
I agree with him. There's a reason that he's not able to see any of his children. Something is wrong there, you know. And even Daniel himself at some point says, I went from a family of 7 to just me. Why is that? Right? You know, there's something there. Hello, Star Child. It's good to have you. We're happy to have you here and out of the bushes. We're always happy when people participate. That's interesting. I only know of one other one, but that's cool. I hope it's all been positive. Hope it's all been positive, Neural. That's the goal, right? Oh, thank you, Chemistry. I love your channel because you don't start mess or entertain mess. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I want no part of mess. I don't want it. Don't want it. I try to stay away from it as much as I can, right? And I try to be fair. I really do. You know, all the way around. But my biggest goal is that we're a family right here. And I want you guys to feel safe to come in here and, you know, to state your opinions, you know, respectfully and feel safe doing it, because we all know there's a lot of other channels out there where you cannot do that. And, you know, we all know we could be wrong, right? You know, we're sharing our opinions, we're speculating, we're not doing it in a mean way or a spiteful way. One of the things Mike says in here, and I don't think he said it yet, but he will at some point, is that he's not out to go after anybody, right? But we look at their statements and, you know, make them prove us wrong, right? Well, we had that happen with Chris Proudfoot, didn't we? Big time. Katie, right? Seth, no. He never did prove me wrong about who he really is, right? And I think we all see that for what it is. Thank you, Chemistry. I appreciate that. Oh, I love you guys. You're so awesome. Cheryl, thank you. You guys are awesome. You know, if we just kept our little group here, that'd be fine with me. I really do appreciate you guys so much. All right, let's continue on. Right? That's really interesting. I like that.
So maybe I will call myself Truth Verifier. Maybe that'll be. Nah, I think my name is all right. I think I just go with my name. You know.
He's
Why
funny.
change it now, people?
Yeah. Kind of like statement analysis, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Legal application support team, police dog services, underwater recovery team, behavioral sciences group, and the criminal analysis service.
Oh,
They are
nice.
joined in their investigational efforts by the National Center.
So they will all work together now hand in hand. And I hope they got the right statement analysts and forensic linguists over there. And that they will, behind closed doors, build a very powerful team. And mind you, I've read about this before, of course, any interview starting May 2nd. So that includes the 4-hour deposition or interrogation, the 4-hour interrogation of Daniel Martel. And would I ever love to get my hands on the transcript for that interrogation. I would probably have 5 hours worth the videos. But we have to go by what he's telling the media, which is right. He already told us enough. And when it comes to the polygraph examination, yeah, I've talked about this already.
Center of Missing Persons, Canadian Center for Child Protection, and provincial and municipal police agencies from Nova Scotia and other parts of Canada. The investigation is being led by a tenacious committee.
I love it so much more when somebody else reads it rather than me doing it and then analyzing it. So, Granny's Crime Busters.
Group of investigators who are gathering and assessing information daily to learn more about the circumstances of Lily and Jack's disappearance so we can find them, says Senior Sergeant Rob McCammon, officer in charge, acting Major Crime and Behavioral Sciences. All scenarios are being considered, and we've engaged every tool and resource at our disposal. The Nova Scotia RCMP would like to thank the public for all of the tips, information, and video footage that has been provided since Lily and Jack went missing.
But I want to see some footage of the highways from that night. And I'm not talking I'm talking about the night from Thursday to Friday, of course. Anywhere in Nova Scotia, really. Anywhere towards any coast where there are high tides. And I was told the tide where was the high, 6:38 or something like that a.m. Well, it doesn't mean that they went, well, disregard what I just said.
With this support, investigators have collected hundreds of hours of video from the areas surrounding Lansdowne Station, including footage taken from along Gerlach Road between 12 p.m. on April 28th and 12 p.m. on May 2nd. Interesting. Which was the subject of a public appeal from the investigative team.
Wait, let me see. Where do I see? Between 12. Yeah, we know about that. That part has been done.
On May 28th. Hundreds of hours, guys. Remember they were asking for dash cam? They've collected hundreds of hours of dash cam footage. That's incredible. Formally interviewed 54 people, which has included the administration of polygraph to some of the individuals interviewed.
Huh.
Interesting. They're not saying who, but they are saying they did. Received 488 tips, many of which have been assessed and followed up on. Extensively searched the property from which the children went missing, including every aspect of the home, grounds, outbuildings, and nearby septic systems, wells, mine shafts, and culverts.
So they are covering themselves in terms of we have exhausted these possibilities, and now we have the right to go full speed ahead and go after what we really want to go after. And I've said it before, whenever I analyze politicians or spokespersons or even law enforcement officials when they speak publicly, there are many times that I detect deception, many times. But that's part of the nature, man. They want to, in this case, particularly in criminal cases or potential criminal cases, they don't want to tell you what they know. So they kind of lead you down a different road because first, they say we have to do all this and do all that and kind of pretend we don't have any suspicions because we don't have enough evidence and we're still collecting it. So yeah, in this case, and I held my tongue here because a lot of the statements from the officials, I was like, I don't, well, let's not go there. You know what I mean? Because I know what they're doing. And they are not going to tell the public or Daniel what exactly they think. They rather have him think, you're doing good, bro. So the same with the lie detector test, with the polygraph, I'm sorry. But you see, the polygraph examination, I think, was, they didn't tell him, they probably told him, yeah, you're done all right. Just get the hell out of here. And he said, I have results. She asked, did they get you results? I have results. Not that they gave me results. There's a big difference here. Do I need to revisit this? Well, I will make a longer video about this. And I will get more into detail there. But from what I recall, and these small parts are extremely important. Did they get you results? Yes, I have results. Very important difference here between getting results and having them. He takes ownership, but he didn't actually say, now I want to look this up. Oh my God.
You said they're flying in.
So let's see what we got here. I do agree with him that RCMP is not going to say exactly what they have, right? But they are going to say what they did, what they've covered, what they're, they're letting everybody know the work that they've put in, but they're not letting them know what they have and who they're who they're looking at, right? They're not doing that. And guys, honestly, I wouldn't want them to, right? I would not want them to. Oh, I'm glad you feel comfy, Star Child. That's awesome. I don't know, right? Daniel's mom leave the property. He's all alone, right? Poor fella. Yeah. I don't know. When he said 7 of us, I think, though, that he was just talking about his kids and Malaya's kids and him and Malaya, right? So it went 7 people in that house to just him. He's not talking about his mom, I don't think. At least that's the way I took it. I could be wrong. Yes, evidently, because Daniel himself stated that he went to the CPS office and they would not allow him to see Meadow. So it looks like they were involved right from day 2, I think, Ginger. Isn't that when Malaya left? The 3rd? Yeah. There was a family altercation which was broke up by police and mom and baby left the property. Cousin Logan said that CPS didn't want the child in the home, but we don't know. I had a lot of red flags by Logan, and the main, in my opinion, guys, right? Could be wrong. But my main feeling from that video was she just wanted some attention. You know, there are thrill seekers, people who, because they may know something, want to get up and say, I know, pick me. That's kind of the feeling I got from Logan. You know, like I said, I could be wrong. You think the mom will break Star Child? I hope somebody does, because I'm, you know, even Mike brought up the water references, and I got to tell you, I worry about it as well, right? Good point, Neuro, right? Logan was very biased. She was all for Daniel, right? And, you know, so was it done purposely to kind of speak for Daniel? I mean, I'm just saying, right? I kind of get that feeling. You know, I saw something else. I saw a post, I think, on Facebook today where somebody said that Malaya doesn't have the child, and CPS does. That's the first I've heard that. Most everyone else, including Logan, I believe, said that the baby is still with Malaya. And even Daniel, when he was saying, don't go after Malaya because it reflects on our daughter, that kind of says that Malaya has custody of Meadow. So I think they're involved, but I don't think that they took the baby. Yeah, exactly. Rumors from Daniel's family say that mom has custody. So, you know, I think that we kind of have to, we've never been told otherwise, right? So I think we have to kind of go with the fact that mom still has custody because nobody has ever come out other than, and this person that said that on Facebook was really a nobody, kind of. And I read it and I'm like, no, where are you getting your information from, kind of thing, you know? Yeah, just, yes. And Logan also said she even admitted that she was fighting with Malaya's mom. So I don't know. Just very, it would have been nice to be a fly when that altercation was going around, to buzz around and and to hear everything everybody was saying, right? To know what really happened with that. But we don't know. You know, we know that Daniel said his mom kicked everybody off or Malaya's family off the property. And then we know what Logan said, but I mean, and Malaya's being quiet, right? And so, after her first interview and with all the red flags there, because there were some in her interview as well, guys, probably not a bad thing for her to go quiet, right? And she's obviously pulled away from Daniel. So I think it's interesting. Yeah, things really, quickly, very fast. How do you go from living together, laying in bed together on the second to on the third, totally boom, done, never gonna look at him again? How does that happen? Just makes you wonder, right? What happened? What happened? Yeah, it's really sad for the children. And one of the things, Mike had two parts to this video. There was this one and there's another one that comes out that we may watch tomorrow. But that one of the things that he said was, when you come to his channel, he wants you to think for yourself. And I really like the fact that he said that, because that's always what I've thought as well. That's why I've said everybody can come here and share their opinion respectfully, because we don't allow hate here. We don't allow garbage, right? Everybody knows that. But they can feel safe to come and share their thoughts and their opinions here. To think for yourself, right? Because my thoughts and my opinions could be wrong. And he has talked about how there are some channels where subscribers just blindly believe the creators, almost like a brainwashing thing going on. And he has said, no, here you come and you think for yourself. And I really like that he said that. We usually see the parents stand together during their pleas to the public. Well, that is what I have seen in other cases. Yeah. Not here. Even on their first interviews, they were interviewed separately. Right? They were interviewed separately. So I want to switch over. And by the way, the links for all the videos that I am showing you today are in the description for my video below. So, and you guys, I hope you always know that whatever I show is the link's always going to be in there. And if it's not, email me because I may have forgotten, but I usually always have them in there. We're going to switch over because Deception Detective came out with a new one today. And I liked what he had to say as well. And I know everybody likes Deception Detective, you know. And guys, I just got to let you know this. Somebody had watched one of our videos, you know, after the live was over on a rewatch crew. And they yelled at me for calling him Mr. Yummy. Would you stop calling him Mr. Yummy? And I said, well, you know, my chat deemed him Mr. Yummy, so I'm sorry. Can you believe it? Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and head on over to Mr. Yummy.
First to volunteer for a polygraph, hopeful it would help the search and ease public speculation.
I know it would be a big help in the case and kind of narrow down maybe some of the speculations and just provide more evidence.
Daniel Martel says during the polygraph test, he was asked several things, including whether or not he was involved in the disappearance of the children.
This report confirms some of the biggest red flags about the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan, which were just rumors until now. So in today's video, let's watch it together and break them down. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For exclusives and cool perks, join the channel, link in description. If you've been following my analysis of this case, you know I have mixed feelings about the RCMP's tactical silence. I understand why they do it, but I also understand reality. When official sources don't give out enough information, hoaxers, grifters, and speculators will step up to fill the void. That's why I didn't comment on the things we're about to discuss in this video, because I wanted official confirmation. And now that we have it, there's no reason not to. But first, here's some important background about how...
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with him on that. I'm sorry. And the reason that I'm disagreeing with him on that is I really feel, yes, he is handsome. I agree with you, Star Child. That's why my chat called him Mr. Yummy. And I don't know, evidently that offended somebody out there. And it was a woman, which I was really surprised. So I don't know. Maybe it was his wife or his girlfriend. I don't know. But yeah, whoever it was offended by it. But, you know, RCMP have given more updates, in my opinion, than we've ever heard from Sumner County in Sebastian's case, right? I mean, so at that point, I kind of got to disagree with him about, because, you know, they've been given, but he is right. When law enforcement isn't giving out information, it causes speculation and all the garbage to come up. And look what happened in Sebastian's case, because Sumner County didn't keep us informed all the way through. I mean, look at the garbage that has come out in Sebastian's case. In my opinion, Sumner County has to take their share of the blame for that. My opinion. All right, let's continue on.
Canadian police use the polygraph in criminal investigations.
RCMP won't say if they've identified any persons of interest, suggesting that might compromise the current investigation, but did say they've conducted polygraphs.
The Truth Verification Unit is engaged. There's multiple facets to those investigations, and those experts are examining every question and answer that those individuals are providing. And it could guide the investigation.
What's most significant is the administering of polygraph tests, says CTV's policing expert and former OPP polygraph examiner Chris Lewis.
You don't do polygraph tests and waste that resource on people that just maybe saw something, heard something, or is a real remote suspect. That's not the way it works. So if they're doing polygraph tests and examinations on people, those are people that they may well suspect have been involved in some way or for whatever reason aren't being honest.
Now that we all have that context, that the RCMP doesn't just give people polygraphs simply because they ask for it, let's watch this new update.
Lily Sullivan and her younger brother Jack were last seen in May, and since then, investigators say they've chased down every lead. RCMP confirmed they've spoken with 50 people, conducted polygraph tests, and have received close to 500 tips. But yet, there's still no sign of the siblings. Jack and Lily's stepfather says he was the first to volunteer for a polygraph, hopeful it would help the search and ease public speculation.
I know it would be a big help in the case and kind of narrow down maybe some of the speculations and just provide more evidence.
Daniel Martel says during the polygraph test, he was asked several things, including whether or not he was involved in the disappearance of the children. He says both his cell phone and that of his estranged wife were confiscated and searched by investigators.
There's a lot to unpack here, but if we read between the lines, it seems like the RCMP is treating Daniel as a primary suspect, whether he realizes it or not. Sure, he did volunteer to take a polygraph test, but that doesn't mean the RCMP would indulge him just because he asked, let alone ask him questions like, did you have something to do with your kid's disappearance? As a side note, and this is one of my biggest problems with the polygraph test in general, every polygraph test is voluntary. The process is too involved and too invasive to do unwillingly. Also, the reporter referred to Malaya Brooks Murray, the mother of Lily and Jack, as estranged from Daniel. And if that's actually what Daniel said, it adds more weight to the rumor that's been circulating online that they're no longer in contact with each other. That said, we have seen this exact journalist misquote Daniel in the past about his polygraph results of all things. And she might actually be doing that again because as far as I know, Daniel and Malaya aren't married, but she referred to Malaya as his estranged wife. I'm actually going to insert that clip because it's such a good demonstration of how important close listening is, and then we'll continue listening to this report because they're about to confirm even bigger, more revealing rumors in this next part.
And I did notice what he's talking about there, that she, referred to Malaya as Daniel's estranged wife. So I agree with him about that. Yes, Ginger, both behavioral and statement analysis on the case. That, to me, that's a good thing. Because I would think that neither, and I'm sure Mike nor Mr. Yummy are going to like this statement, but I'm going to say that I don't know that every statement analysis is 100% accurate and every behavior analysis is 100% accurate. But if you take and glean what you can, right? And figure it's got to help them figure things out, right? Here's my question. How come they haven't figured things out in Sebastian's case yet? I don't know. Irritating to me. Yeah. Prime suspect, get 4-hour interview and a polygraph test. And they don't do it just because somebody asked for it. And that's the other thing. It's just like Mr. Yummy says that this same reporter said that Daniel said he passed his polygraph test. Daniel never said that. He talked around it. It just looks good for him. That doesn't mean anything. He did not say he passed his test, and yet this reporter said it. So I have seen other people online run with that and say that Daniel passed his polygraph test. He never said that. He never said that.
The stepfather tells me that he's been cooperating with the police, including providing a polygraph test, which he did, and he says he passed.
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor, we'll say that.
Daniel didn't say he passed his polygraph, so I'm not going to assume that he did. Did that reporter break the first rule of statement analysis, inferring something that wasn't actually said?
He says both his
Yes,
cell
she
phone
did.
and that of his estranged wife were confiscated and searched by investigators. This and weeks of interviews, there still hasn't been a major break in the case. And for their stepfather, the silence inside the once busy home is deafening.
Going from a family of 7 to just me, I mean, I have nothing but time.
Yeah. Family of 7 to just me. I think he was just talking about Malaya and the kids. He's not mentioning his mother or his brother, which we've been told his brother lived down the road, actually. So only his mother lived in the house. But yeah, interesting, right?
To just think.
RCMP insists this is still very much an active investigation. They're reviewing surveillance footage and following digital evidence. But the emotional toll has already left its mark on Martel, including the loss of custody of his daughter, Meadow.
I haven't even got to see my own kids. Not even Meadow yet. But I'm still hopeful. I have supervised visits coming up that are granted by CPS.
The children's stepfather says he's grateful to the investigators and to people who continue to share tips, even if none have yet led to finding Jack and Lily. Until then, over a month later, the family continues to remain hopeful that the children will return home safe.
So here is my question as well. If they were not legally married, he should have never been called a stepfather in the first place. He's just a significant other or a partner of the mother. He's not really a stepfather. In my opinion, to be a stepfather, you have to be married to the mother. Could be wrong. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. And also referring to her as his wife, or if he didn't refer to her as his wife, the reporter did. Right? So, I don't know.
I'm sure that Deception Deck owners, longtime subscribers, and channel members caught the fact that Daniel said he can't even see his own kids, which is a bizarre thing to say. It makes me wonder if he has some other kids besides Meadow that we don't know about. It makes me wonder what he considers Lily and Jack and just how much distance there is between.
Okay. So that does kind of bother me a little bit about Mr. Yummy. He doesn't do enough research when he talks about these cases, because if he did, he would know that Daniel was married before and had 2 children, a boy and a girl, with another woman. And he just said here, does he have 2 kids that we don't know about? Oh, we know about him, but you don't, obviously. Right? I mean, that blows my mind when, and it's not the first time I've caught him in something like this, right? It's just a matter of that he doesn't have all the information that he really needs to be talking about what he's talking about. And it bothers me. I just expect more of him, I guess. I'm not trying to make him look bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying I'm surprised he doesn't know that, I guess he doesn't go real life, right? He doesn't go look at Facebook or anything else. If he did, he would know that there were pictures, Or I'm surprised he hasn't seen the pictures of the other two kids with Lily and Jack and Meadow, because it's a family of 7 picture of all of them that's out on the internet.
Between him and them, because they are what he was comparing his own kids to. I'm also sure everyone caught the fact that the authorities removed his custody of Meadow and kept her with her mom, which makes me wonder more about Daniel's background and whether some of the glimmers of his true character that I pointed out in my last video in this series are signs of something deeper and darker. But the main reason I paused here is because he confirmed for a fact that there were other adults on the property besides him and Malaya when Lily and Jack disappeared, which officially puts him in the pantheon of parents who I consider to be hoaxing about their missing kid, because I've never heard him accuse either of those adults once. If his story that he and Malaya were drifting in and out of sleep when the kids disappeared, how can he be so sure that neither of those adults are responsible? This is a mistake that we see all the time on the channel with parents who I consider to be hoaxers. For instance, the parents of Madeline McCann never accused their other friends who were at the property at the time of doing anything to Madeline. How could they know? John Benet Ramsey's parents never questioned each other. They didn't even question their son Burke, who was also in the house at the time and also supposedly sleeping. Jen Soto was somehow able to eliminate her boyfriend and all of her housemates as suspects when her daughter mysteriously vanished. The list goes on and on. Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells, William Turrell. The only parents who I think are innocent, the parents of Dylan Ealer, had their entire family torn apart because they couldn't stop doubting each other and accusing each other. And that's what happens when you actually don't know what happened. In other words, it's extremely telling that Malaya and Daniel are somehow able to eliminate each other as suspects when they couldn't possibly know that, as well as 2 other adults who were on the property. They display none of the curiosity that innocent parents have when their kid vanishes without a trace, and all the conclusiveness that hoaxers have when they're covering for each other and not trying to stir the hornet's nest by accusing other people who could reveal the skeletons in their closets. Like, comment, and share for more. Check the end card for my entire playlist.
Okay, so I will say this. Now, Malaya did her interview. We all said there was red flags, right? But after that interview, she went quiet. Not only did she go quiet, but she left the home, moved to her mother's home, took down every single picture of Daniel off her Facebook, and changed her status to single. So, is there blaming going on there? We don't know because she's not talking, but I kind of think there is, guys. You wouldn't do that. Not only that, we heard rumors, right? I mean, that allegedly even Daniel said that is why his mom kicked them off the property, because they're blaming him. So I think, again, Mr. Yummy's not listening to rumors, but right. I agree. Like they were living with his ex-wife. Yeah. Yeah. And some people like to talk like, well, here's a person who did that. Lori Vallow. She did that. She was trying to say that when she was first married to Charles, they were a family of 1, 2, 5 or something like that, because Charles had kids, right? When in reality, those kids didn't live with them, right? So she did the same thing, kind of. That's interesting because Lori was found guilty. just dawned on me, right? Lori was just found guilty again. Yay. Hopefully after July 25th for Lori's sentencing, we will not see that woman anymore. We can only hope and pray. But yeah, Lori Vallow did the same doggone thing. Hello, Lori. Welcome. We're glad to have you. If Daniel says he done everything for the kids, why did he just happen not to get up and look after them that morning? Right? Good point. You know, good point. Why? And you know what, that statement right there just tells me that I don't think he did everything for the kids. I think he's lying, because even the biological dad's mom, the grandma, stated that Malaya was an excellent mother. And so when Daniel told her that after Meadow was born, it was all about Lily and Jack, or it was all about Meadow, and she just completely ignored Lily and Jack, that was shocking to her. And so her thought was, did she have postpartum depression? And then his response is, oh, it's worse than that. I think that's all a lie. And she was just trying to figure out what was there something wrong that Malaya was, she was believing Daniel, in other words, and, she didn't belong believing Daniel because he's an idiot. My opinion. He's just, there is so much guilty knowledge when it comes to Daniel that it's just adding up over and over and over again. It really is. I know that's kind of a weird comparison, isn't it? I don't like the thought of it, honestly. But she said the same thing about her family of, I think she called it family of 5, I believe. So she was including, because at the time they hadn't adopted JJ yet. So Charles had 2 kids. She had 2 kids. I don't know. It was weird, though. It was weird. So, yeah. But it sounded familiar to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, she said the same thing. And in fact, somebody talked about it. Maybe it was Colby, Hello, prayer warrior. Well, I'm glad it worked for you. Awesome. That's awesome. Maybe I should be giving tips on. Granny's household tip for the day. I don't know. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad it worked. I need to get some. I don't have any. But yeah, so the fact that the RCMP are using truth verification and behavioral analysis tells us that we're on the right track, guys, because we're trying to look at their statements to see, what are they telling us? What are the parents telling us? Right? What are even the officials telling us, right? Mike DeMann just kind of was telling us what the officials are telling us. Hello, Polar Vortex. Good to see you. Daniel and Malaya were in a legal common law relationship according to Canadian law, but not married. Okay. So then they're considered a wife, a husband in that legal common law relationship? How does that work? Good point. And do we know that for sure? And did they file income taxes together? I know that you can be in a common law marriage in the US. After 7 years, you're considered legally married if you want to go that route. Not married. So they don't call each other wife and husband. And they shouldn't be referred to as that. Yeah, in the States, it's 7 years per warrior. And then I think you still have to do something, don't you? I think you have to. It would only be considered common law if they filed taxes together or applied for benefits. Gotcha. Interesting. And as far as your opinion on Dee Dee, that's your opinion. Most everyone in our chat likes him. Am I saying he's always 100% right? No. I mean, that's not for me to judge. We're just trying to look at statement analysis, and we look at a couple of different people for that analysis. That's what I think too. I think that reporter is giving wrong information. She called him the estranged wife, or she called Malaya his estranged wife, and she wasn't his wife. He's also not a stepfather, in my opinion. You know, and it's not the first time that she has, said something that wasn't true. Polar, here at GCB, we don't cut anyone down, especially other creators. We just don't do that here. So I would appreciate if you would be respectful, especially to somebody that I do show on my channel. I don't want to show any disrespect to. Yeah, she had legal custody of the baby, but he didn't. I think there's more going on with Daniel than we know, right? Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Polar, I'm not going to say it again, okay? We're not going to cut down Deception Detective. We're just not going to do it. I don't have to suck up to anyone. I don't even know him. We just do not do that here at my channel. That's what I'm telling you. $2 years in Nova Scotia that they have to live together. Gotcha. It's interesting. I like learning about the different laws. Bye. So, but I like listening to the different laws between the countries, right? Because it's very different, especially when we're talking legalities and cases, makes a big difference. Has anyone established where the sliding door is? Oh, the sliding door is right up here at the top by where the deck is. You can call that a deck. But that's the sliding glass door there. You're funny. And see, guys, that is exactly what we don't put up with here. If people don't want to be, if they don't want our coverage, they can feel free to move along, right? Daniel is doing everything a UK killer case. His name was Ian Huntley. He went out searching, getting close police, talking to reporters. He unalived 2 10-year-old girls. Oh my gosh. That's awful. And he's doing everything the same way. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. He reminds me a lot of I mean, the things that he does, not his tone, but the things that he does reminds me a lot of Chris Proudfoot. He just doesn't get angry like Chris Proudfoot does. Yeah, that's kind of the middle of the trailer. It's cut off. I might be able to, let me see if I have a different picture of it. I'm going to look for you guys. I just didn't have it pulled up. But yeah, I might have a different pic of it. No, I guess I don't. I didn't save one. That's the only one I had. I know there's other ones out there that are better than this, but yeah, that's a picture of the sliding glass door they were talking about, where the kids allegedly went out. Yes, we like friendly people. Exactly. He does. He has a right to his own opinions. We don't always agree with them, right? I just told you on this stream that, he didn't, do his due diligence and get all of his research. Does that mean that I think he doesn't know what he's doing or that he doesn't have a right to his opinion? No, right? On Google Maps, the wooden shed was where the kid's climbing frame was. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There is like a shed underneath there where they obviously stored some things. I saw that from a different angle. But yeah. And from what I've heard, and I don't know where that footage was seen, but somebody said that they have newer drone footage and it actually shows the yard is a lot more cleaned up than this. This is the initial drone footage, I think from the police or something. I don't know. You'd lift the shed in the playhouse. Yeah. I don't think the kids are there, honestly. Daniel is an avid fisherman. I think he's probably been all over the area fishing even before he met Malaya. And I think that I mean, it just makes sense. All the water references, right? That both Malaya and Daniel have used. I don't know. My opinion, I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that the kids were washed out to the ocean. They were left in the Bay of Fundy and washed out to the ocean, my opinion. If you want to make sure somebody's not found, what would you do if you lived an hour and a half from the ocean? Versus, I mean, right, guys, if you think about a missing persons case, especially in the remote area that they live, and you said, and you're going to tell the kids that they walked out the door, right? Then where are the police going to look? Obviously, they're going to look in the woods. So if you're planning this, you know that they're going to look the woods. That's the last place you're going to go to. And you made a big scene about running through waist deep water. Losing my voice. I know, because they said he didn't come back for 3 hours. Is that right? Lily's backpack was pink. How do we know that? And I don't know if I said hi to you, just me. I know I've been, kind of talking to you. But welcome. Well, they'd pick him up. I don't think that he'd mess up the heat sensors. I don't know enough about him. I guess I shouldn't say. It's a good question. I don't honestly know. Yeah. And in that, yeah. And culverts have something to do with water as well. It's usually water and culverts, right? I mean, that's what they're for. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think he looked in the culverts. I think the kids were in his vehicle, and he took them to wherever he was going to take them, or else he did it earlier. I don't know. When we were watching Mr. Yummy today, one of the things that I thought about was how do I want to put it? Hang on just a second. Why would he say the kids wouldn't cross the road? So why did he jump in the vehicle? You would automatically search the area near the house, not disappear for ages, and then come back. Exactly, Lori. Exactly. Erratic behavior to be chasing helicopters. Exactly. And that was one of the things that I was thinking about is, okay, so they got all that. They got hundreds of hours of dash cam footage, right? The fact that they are so remote, guys, doesn't leave the probability for being picked up on ring cameras and, other cameras on stop signs or stoplights, that kind of thing, because they're so remote. So it's harder for RCMP to track them, or even license plate readers, that kind of thing. It's harder for RCMP to track them. That's why they're asking for that information, guys. To find out, what was he doing, right? Where were his whereabouts? And I even think about the Suzanne Simpson case. Her body's still never been found yet. Her husband is going to be going to trial for her red rum. And they lived in the city, right? And they saw different things in his truck and saw where he went and all that kind of stuff, but they have not been able to find her body. So how much harder is it in this case than even, because they knew where Brad went and everything that he did, where he was, what time, but they don't have her body. How much worse is it for the RCMP in this case? They have a big job to try and prove anything in this case. And that's scary. Yeah. Good thought. Good thought. Was he implying to not check the culverts because he already checked them? Yeah, I heard like 3 hours. That's the last I heard, and I don't even remember where I heard it from. So I don't, know if that's accurate. Don't take it as fact, guys. Right? But yeah, 3 hours. And you don't you don't think RCMP would have been a little bit suspicious about that? It's kind of like Dee Dee said, he's the number one suspect. Yeah, and why would he even think about saying Lily's backpack would be brown now? Wonder if people who live there know more. I don't know. It's so remote. I think you could get away with something and not be seen. It's not like they had a neighbor right on top of them, you know. I mean, 200 yards down the road, yes, but and you know, Lori, a few videos ago, we showed the Bay of Fundy and how it time lapses and, you know, coming in and out, and it gets muddy and the water's brown. So that just made me think of that when you said that. And I remembered he said that. Yeah, and he also said that Jack would not have a pull-up on anymore. You know, but what happened, right? What happened to bring them to that, right? Did some kind of accident happen? He panicked? I mean, I don't know. Right? And I think it's Mike DeMann who thinks that something happened to Jack first. And that's why Lily kept coming into the bedroom. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But, you know, we don't know if that's true or not. Again, we're speculating. We're trying to figure this out. And I can't imagine what it's like for the police to be thinking. You know, they've got to think of every scenario, right? They've got to look at every aspect of the case. And that retired officer from Canada stated earlier that that's what they do in a criminal investigation, just kind of like what we're doing. They look at everything, right? What are all the possibilities? What happened? For the life of me, though, guys, even if an accident happened, I can't imagine taking the life of the other one and then trying to cover it all up. If something, God forbid, happened to my children, you know, when they were little, I'd be calling 911 and the police. I'm not going to try to cover up anything. Of course, I wouldn't harm my children, so. You know, I mean, who would know that area like the back of their hand? Where there's cameras and CCTV and ways to avoid them. Exactly. Who would know the areas of where to put what SUV are you talking about? Just me. I don't know what you're talking about. Fill me in. Fill me in. Are you talking about Malaya's? Did Malaya have an SUV? I don't know. I don't know anything about their cars. So I did share with you when we were thinking about truth verification. Trust but verify, or don't trust at all. Oh, that's right. You're talking about that one. Yes, they did rule that one out. If that's the one you're talking about, just me. I thought you were talking about their cars. But anyway, trust but verify, or don't trust at all. And it's kind of like what Mike Demand said about, I want to believe the parents of any missing child, right? I want to believe them. I go into these cases wanting to believe them, always. They have to prove to me that they're not trustworthy, because I'm going to verify. I'm going to use every tool that I have online to verify. I'm going to listen to statement analysis. I'm going to listen to behavior analysis and try to figure out what's going on. I don't know what kind it was, but they said it was ruled out, just me. So, anyway, guys, that's really all I had for today. I want to thank you for being here. And thank you to Mike Demand and to Deception Detective for, lending us their expertise. We appreciate that so much. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for, feeling safe enough to come and share your thoughts and your opinions. Could the kids have been put in a boat in the boot of a vehicle? I don't know. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, Lori. Because we don't have a lot to go on, do we? They had helicopters up checking all the vehicles in that area, according to dispatch. Gotcha. And Just Me thinks they've been taken via the SUV. You're welcome, Cheryl. I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Please, please, please hit the like button on your way out. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.